Hey, this is Matt Boggs, and today I'm going to share with Hey, this is Matt Boggs, and welcome to Nightmare on Date Street, not Volume 1, but Volume 2. This is becoming a bit of a Halloween tradition here, where we take a look at horrible first date stories to have a little bit of fun. And tonight we're going to look at 7 first date stories to help you feel a little bit better about your love life. And so our first story is called The Niagara Nightmare. Jessica writes in and she says, I went out with someone who drank 2 bottles of wine. Clearly I slept with him. I woke up in the middle of the night to find him peeing off the side of my bed in his sleep. Now our next Nightmare on Date Street story is called Bad to the Bone, and I thought, who better to tell this than my friend who I call Bone Boy. Bone Boy? Whatever, Edward Butterknife Hands. My name is Brian. I've got a story for you, but first, I want to introduce you to my girlfriend, Bonita. Now, Bonita looks a little tired, as you can tell. She's been working late at work on the skeleton crew. And she wants to quit, she was telling me, but she just doesn't have the heart for it. Literally, she doesn't have the heart for it. So, the next Nightmare on Date Street story was sent in by a woman named Bronwyn. Now, Bronwyn writes in and she says that at the end of the night, her date leaned in for a kiss and whispers into her ear, "Don't be afraid if my tooth falls out." It's okay, Bronwyn. I'm not scared. Our next story is submitted by Michelle and it's called The Man Who Wasn't There. And Michelle writes, I went to a fancy place. He ordered the most expensive meal in the restaurant. He later went to wash his hands and never came back.
Total douchebag.
Our next story, submitted by Kaylee, is called The Prophecy. Kaylee writes in and says, went on a blind date with a guy for pizza. 5 minutes in and 2 slices later, he had already named our future children. Our next story, submitted by Jordan, is called The Joke That Went Too Far. Jordan writes in and says he wouldn't stop putting chopsticks in his mouth and pretending to be a walrus for over 30 minutes. I guess his walrus impression needs a little work. Now our next nightmare story, submitted by Brittany, is called Toxic Terrain. Brittany says this was the funniest and most horrible first date she's ever had. She says it was in high school and we planned to go to a football game on Friday night. I was irrationally scared that something embarrassing might happen, like my farting and not being able to cover up the smell. As such, I made my best friend promise to come sit next to me and take credit for any wayward flatulence. About halfway through the game, someone did fart near us, and my best friend, how I love her, loudly proclaimed, "Excuse me, but I pass gas." The fart had not originated from me, and once that boy and I became official, we laughed about it for years. And this last one comes from my own family, my grandfather actually. It's a story very close to home, and it's called The Family Circle. My grandfather was actually picking up my grandmother for their second date, and it was the first time he was going to meet the family. So he shows up at the house, walks in, and in the living room, the whole family's standing around in a circle chatting. My grandfather is very, very shy and he hasn't said anything. He's looking for a way to get into the conversation. And so the cat walks in to the middle of the circle and starts scratching its back. And my grandfather says to everybody, "Hey, you guys, look at that. Doesn't that look like it feels good?" By the time everyone looked down, the cat was licking its crotch. Not a great first impression to make when you're wanting to woo a woman. But the story goes on, and the good news is my grandparents got married, and their marriage lasted 63 years and completely impacted and changed my life. So there you have it. 7 horrible nightmare first date stories to put a little bit of fun into your life, make you feel a little bit better. And just remember, no matter how bad it gets, your man is looking for you and it will get better. There are a certain number of dates that we must go through before meeting that special somebody. So keep the faith, keep your chin up, and know that your moment is coming with your man. And if you have any horrible first date stories, go ahead and post them in the comments section below. Now, if you'd like more videos about love and relationships, if you're into increasing and enriching your own love life, then make sure to get subscribed, because this channel is all about increasing love in the world, even with these blades. Love in the world, one heart at a time. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.